All right, James. It's time for the last videos of the year. You're heading out west again. So we did 124 videos this year to make up for that
Wow.
void year the year before. 124 videos. I counted it. So uh, we'll try
Thank
to.
you.
Yeah, no, man, you did
Uh,
well. Couldn't have done it without you.
well,
So.
I definitely couldn't have done it without you. Yeah.
So now I got 1,000 subscribers. So now I'm on the radar. Oh man. Uh, this is for Arkham Reporter, Damien. So we got a little. He had a question, kind of like when he's doing something, when he has creative goals or he has goals for culinary goals for the future, where he wants to live, you know, and then he gets feelings of where it just seems like everything is absurd and pointless. I guess everything is just like, why is he wasting his time, doing something like making music or writing a story or setting up a restaurant somewhere. And he gets these feelings where it's just he wants to be part of something like something even greater than that. I have some ideas about that, but you're the star of the show here, so
Hmm.
and you heard the question, the audio of it.
Yes.
So what is your take on this? What's your
He mentioned having strong motivation to do something creative, and then in the course of that, receiving a feeling that his creative endeavor was absurd. And I would, I felt that before. I feel it often. Western civilization is just a beast of consumption. It's just like it's got this nihilistic heart that is just there to devour anything that's meaningful to the individual, particularly the creative individual. So what I do to counter that feeling, I get it every time I write a novel. I realize that most of my novels will only be read by 5 or 10 people in my lifetime, and that 2 weeks of work will probably net about $20 a lifetime for me, but I do it anyhow. So to get in practice doing something that society is telling me it's absurd, and it's telling us our creative activities are absurd because we're intelligent enough to realize that we're not going to make a lot of money doing it, and that is the only metric for success in modernity is financial benefit. So what I would do is something that is physically vigorous, that on the face of it society sees as absurd. I mostly did this walking in America in large cities, mid-sized cities like Baltimore. For a white person to walk was it was like screaming that there is no God at church.
right?
Okay, the cops would come after you. People of enemy races would come after you because you broke the sacred set taboo. The white man's supposed to be on his horse in his chariot riding. He's not supposed to be on foot. So I would do vigorous walking, think about my projects while I was doing it, knowing I was in danger of being attacked, even arrested for the crime of walking the entire time, and often being threatened and attacked by people my own race that were driving for the crime of walking. The other activities that I did, that I've done a lot, is dueling with dull machetes, fighting and sparring with sticks, boxing. I am still reviled as an evil, vile creature for doing this type of stuff. I was recently sparring with dull machetes with one of my hosts in front of his rental property when the Mexican runners came down and stood aghast in horror that these two men in fencing masks were going at it with metal weapons. I saw that the old Mama-san was upset, so I grabbed the rate by the shoulder and I stabbed him in the neck so
Oh,
that I could take my mask off and say good morning to her.
oh,
Okay, so stuff like that is always how I always worked up the physical internal gumption to just go against the whole thing that hates me, which is this world. So that's basically been my methodology for about 30 years of writing. I think I started writing in 1988.
So you would definitely say that the feelings that come about, it has an external source.
Yes.
When you feel like what you're doing is absurd or meaningless. Now, to go the other way, let's say when he was saying that he wanted to be part of something greater, like instead of maybe, I don't know, he wanted to be part of some world crusade against an evil ideology that ruled half the planet at one point. I just let as an example, perhaps, and then making music or writing a story or opening up like a taco truck somewhere in the Canary Islands, let's say, is like not on the same level as this, as something like that.
Well, that's the trap. We live in a black hat, white hat world.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're supposed to go on a crusade. That's so that your energy, your life force, can be stamped out in the here and now by the hooves of the great beast that's over top of you right now, rather than you creating something now that'll be read by the next generation or viewed or listened to by the next generation and might have a real benefit. So it's something that's implanted through the narratives that we've been fed, that everything's got to be a crusade. Every action movie saves the world.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a reason why that's the case.
All right, so that's your take on it. Okay, if there's an internal factor to that where sometimes it just seems like it's absurd, it's some kind of self-sabotage, and I would argue that most self-sabotage is not inherent in us. It's something implanted in us by, as you said, the great beast. So we're sort of in agreement on that.
We're subject to a narration, a constant narrative that's forever repeated, and it's used in a rhythmic sense. And I see people mesmerized constantly in my day-to-day life by an activity that the society sees as unacceptable. If you're going to something that's acceptable, if you're going skiing, okay, if you're going dancing, if you're going to a gym that's like a treadmill, standard machine, weightlifting gym and stuff like that, that might be good for you physically, but it's still keeping you in the groove that's telling you you're absurd for your creativity. You would be better off just walking through a bad neighborhood or walking up a hill that everybody else takes the tram on.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah. Well, that's okay. That's your take on it. So, I'll just say that when you think it's absurd, like I said, it's it's that beast working on us. So
Right,
you need to just get it out of your mind and keep doing what you're doing even more. So, all right.
Good luck.
Yep. Yeah.